Miss Heather Johnson on with us. She is the writer of The First Day of the Rest of My Life. Now, Heather, this is your first book you've written, correct?
Yes.
All right, now tell me a little bit about this book.
The book chronicles my life from adolescence up until adulthood. And I talk about a range of things that we as teenagers, we as young women, we as adults go through in our day-to-day lives that some people may find risque or may have gone through themselves but never had an outlet or never had someone to talk to about. So I deal with all of those things, from emotional things to mental things to suicide to drugs to sex to abuse, everything.
All right, now the book follows the life of Victoria Charles, but these are all stories based on your life and your personal experiences.
Yes, they are.
All right, so Victoria Charles is really, it's you.
It's me.
Just a character.
Yeah.
And all the people in the book are based on people in your real life?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so really you use this book to tell about kind of the things that people don't talk about. Mm-hmm. And so what do you hope to get out of writing this book?
My hope that I want to come out of the book is that people begin to realize that life is much bigger than what we see. There are things that people may not ever talk about because of fear. And in the book, I want to let people know that you shouldn't be afraid of your past and that you shouldn't be afraid of the things that you've experienced, because you're not the only one who has gone through. You're not the only person that has dealt with these things. And by me opening up and sharing my life story, I began to see how many more people have actually experienced the things that I've experienced. And they're saying, thank you for doing this. It needs to be said, it needs to be spoken about, because a lot of the things that are not said and are not spoken about, you know, people actually, instead of going to counseling or going to seek help for those things, they kind of deal with those things, and at times it's a downfall instead of, you know, a motivator, because they don't know how to cope and they don't know how to handle those things that they've experienced.
And they just keep it down inside of them and just gets bottled up, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
Well, now this is your first book, so how did you, obviously your life was the inspiration, but how did you ever decide to start writing?
It was just, I say divine intervention, because it was never something on my to-do list. I was led to do it. So me being obedient, I began to write. And in my writing, I began a healing process for myself. And I'm more free now than I've ever been. And it's thanks to me taking the initiative and being able to, you know, act accordingly when it came to me being led to write the book.
Now tell me a little bit about your journey as you wrote this book.
It was an emotional roller coaster. Some days I couldn't write for the tears that I cried when I looked at the things that I've gone through. And a lot of the things that I've gone through, a typical person couldn't have experienced those things and still be able to walk around with a smile on their face or their head held high. So I'm just thankful that I was able to get to this point to where I can share my story.
I'm sure it definitely wasn't easy going back, reliving some of
No, it wasn't.
Those bad experiences, but you really telling your story, somebody out there might be listening or reading the book and they think they're going through this all alone, but they're not.
No, you're never alone, and I've learned that, and I'm learning that too up until this point. You're never alone. You never know what you telling your story or your testimony or whatever it is that you've experienced in life can help the next person become more free and help them release or help them move on to a better place.
Absolutely. Now, Heather, you are from Albany, lived here your whole life.
Yes.
So can people kind of, maybe who definitely or haven't gone through some of these exact experiences, can they still relate being from the area?
Of course. Even some of the things that I address in the book, and I have a sense of humor, so you'll find yourself sometimes in the book, you'll laugh. And some of the things that I discuss in the book, some people may be able to relate to because it touches on things that I've experienced here in this city. So I feel from reading it myself, and I'm the author, sometimes I catch myself like, did that really happen, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how people, you know, they underestimate someone by just looking at them, but you never know what someone's going through, or you never know what they've dealt with unless you know that person intimately or personally and you've experienced those things with that person.
Right, like you were saying, people kind of can put on a front.
Yeah.
And you never know really what's going on the inside. Well, now this book you wrote, it came out in March, you were saying?
Yes, it did.
So people can buy this now, correct?
Yes, it's available on Amazon.com. It's available on booksamillion.com, barnesandnoble.com. It's also on Kindle, and if you purchase it on Kindle, you will be able to get an autograph from me. And also I have my website, which is www.wix.com/jheather13/book site. And you can order it directly from the website as well.
Okay, so really lots of places that you can order. Any locally here that they can go and just pick up a...
As of now, not right now, but we're working on trying to get it in the Books A Million store that we have in Albany.
But it's online. You can order it there. Kindle, obviously. Everybody's getting a Kindle now, it seems, these days. So, all right, well, Heather Johnson, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Love having you. Definitely go check out her book, The First Day of the Rest of My Life